Good evening, everybody. Hey there. It is good old Sunday evening. We're going to look at the market for a little while, see what the market has to offer us. Yes, yes. What does the market have to offer us? Let me let the people know that we're here. I'm live. I'm live. Tell the people that we're live. Y'all pass the word to the people that we're live. And I'm on all the platforms. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I am on YouTube. I am on LinkedIn. And I am on, there's one more. What's the other one? Is that all of them? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I guess I can always go back to the main screen and look, huh? Yep, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Those are the 4 places that I am. Hey, everybody. Hey. Val and Tanya and Curtis, how y'all doing this evening? It's Sunday. Some people say Sunday, fun day. Did y'all have a fun day this Sunday? What did y'all do? What did y'all do this Sunday? Y'all put me some comments in the chat. Tell me some stuff that you did today on your Sunday. What did I do on my Sunday? Well, not a whole lot. Got up and had, a little bit of breakfast this morning. I ran out of my favorite cottage cheese. And then when I went to Aldi to go find some, they were completely out. Hey, Lisa. And then I had to go out. My husband was changing the oil on our vehicles. So I had to go and meet him where he was doing it. He actually was changing the oil on the base where he was like at the mechanic hobby shop. They got y'all people who are military know about stuff like that. He can actually go change the oil and work on his truck. So, but we have 2 vehicles and I don't have access to the base. So he went ahead and did it. And then I had to go meet him basically at the gate of the base to change vehicles. And then I went on back home from there. I stopped by the grocery stores when I found out that Aldi didn't have any more of my favorite cottage cheese. And then I came on back home and kind of, watched the new Medea Destination Wedding movie. It's the same foolishness. Oh my goodness. But my husband started us watching it last night. So then I finished it up. And then I did the same thing, Curtis. And so I got us ready for today's call. I had to get ready for this. Looked at some charts. Curtis had looked at some charts, saw SPX had some gaps to fill when you throw on the fib retracement tool. Maybe you could talk to us this evening, Curtis, a little bit about fib retracement. I know enough about fib retracement to be dangerous. That's about how much I know. Carla says, first Sunday I did nothing, chill with Mr. B. Okay, that'll work. Do a little bit of chilling. Our church we had, I used to go to church on Saturdays, where we had church on Saturday and Sunday. We'd go Saturday evening, and then they stopped the Saturday service and moved it to Thursday. So we go to service on Thursday evening. So we don't do Sundays. So Sunday we go on Thursday. So Sunday we do other things. I cooked a little bit of breakfast. My grandson is still here, so we had a little bitty breakfast this morning, and went on about the rest of our day. So, and then here we are. Here it is, the end of the day, and we're getting ourselves ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be back at work tomorrow. Well, some of us don't go to work, bless him. Some of us could. You know what? It's all a matter of perspective, right? Hey, Doug. Hey, Selena. It's all a matter of perspective. What kind of church customization is this? Well, my church has several services on the weekend. We probably have 5 or 6 services on the weekend. So they, change the times to quote unquote accommodate the membership. We've got 4 or 5 locations and service times to accommodate pretty much anytime you want to do whatever fits your life. There's a time that will fit your life. You can't say, well, I couldn't go to church because I was working at 11. There's other times to go and other times you could go to church. All right. Lisa says she did church, she cooked, and then she watched some trainings. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's look a little bit talk about charts a little bit. Let's look and see what we did on charts last week. What did SPX do last week? This is the weekly chart. First thing I want you to see is the weekly candle. What is this called? It is called a doji. Basically, the week started and finished in virtually the same place. It started, this little candle, this sword looking thing, it's really a good doji. The price started and finished in about the same place. The high of the candle was 62.90. The low of the candle is 62.01. So basically it went up. The range of this candle is about 90 points for the week, but the open and the close 62.59, 62.59. 62.59, and 74. Basically, it opened and closed for the week within 70 cents. Y'all know what that's called? It starts with the M and it ends with the manipulation. Yeah. Manipulation. Yeah. Manipulation is what that was. A whole week worth, and we start and finish at the very same place, like within 70 cents. Are you serious? A stock that can move 100 points in a day in one direction and can move 20 points in 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. It open and close at the very same place after a week of movement. Come on, bruh. All right. Anyway, this gap that was here that was created the previous week, gap was created last week because we gapped down for the open, but that gap was created. And guess what? It's now closed because the price action from last week closed that gap. All right. That's what the gap looks like. Let's look at the daily chart so we can actually see what did it do last week. Let me turn off the strat numbers so that way nobody gets distracted by that, even though people always ask me about it. What are those numbers on your chart? It's called the strat. The numbers on my chart is called the strat. All right. This gap here, which was created on Tuesday the 8th. It was created Tuesday the 8th, between the 8th and the 9th, is partially filled by this price action. So now I can adjust it down and stretch it across so y'all can see that there's a little bit of that gap that still remains to be filled. And there was a gap that was created between Thursday and Friday, and all of it was not filled either, right? So we see only a part of that was filled. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but there is a little bit of wick right here. It's skinny. The skinny wick was here, is here. And so there's a gap there between 62.69 and 62.80 is also a gap that is created. Okay, we're still at all-time highs. We have been able to push across the 6,300 mark. Not that it won't keep trying, because I'm sure it will. Yep. Janae says, I noticed my strikes were in the same ballpark last week. So that's what SPX looked like last week. I'm going to move on from there, but I know we'll come back to the indices. I just wanted y'all to see what did the big overall market do last week. Okay. What is coming up? The current place of the VIX is 16.4. Let me change this a little bit. Y'all want to make it a little bit bigger. We'll put me down in the corner. There we go. Nobody puts baby in the corner. 16.4 is the VIX right now. That's where we are with that. As far as Yahoo Finance goes, inflation data, big bank earnings are starting this week. We're going to talk about earnings here in a minute. And Netflix results, the week ahead, stocks are back near record highs, and the week ahead will bring a busy economic and earnings calendar. Commentary, where have all the dividends gone? Companies can't necessarily give dividends if they're busy eating into their profits to manage tariffs and other stuff like that. Trump allies attack Powell for ostentatious overhaul of the Fed offices. Now, it's amazing to me that it wasn't nothing mentioned. And of course, we ain't even in there, but wasn't any, there was nothing. Let me talk like I got, like I know how to speak in proper English because I do. But there was nothing mentioned about the renovation of those Fed offices at all. That hadn't been brought up at all. All of a sudden now it's all the news. How come that is the thing that we're talking about now? And is this something that's trying to get our attention off of something that really is important? That we're now diverting our attention to something that is of literally no consequence. All right. I'm sure if we were to look at books to see how much people have overhauled and renovated, and we ain't gonna talk about how much they renovated the Oval Office in the White House again when Trump retook possession. I'm sure they went back and undid some stuff from the people who was there before him that he didn't want. Okay. Now all of a sudden that's all the news. It wasn't mentioned. How come now it's being mentioned? What's up with that? How the new Trump accounts work and why experts don't love them. Should you wait for lower mortgage rates to buy a home? Yeah, well, have a mortgage. Trump's tax law might give you new deductions. New tax on tips is now law. Trump's focus on transshipping loophole could reorder global trade. Okay. This is always a good channel. Yahoo Finance and CNBC are always a good place to go and just kind of see what the headlines are talking about. FAA says Boeing fuel switches are safe following a fatal Air India crash. Okay, so people died, but now we say that all is well. All is well. Okay, here's CNBC. Trump certainly can fire Fed Chair Powell if there's a cause. I sure hope it ain't over no renovations, because if we're going to fire people over wasting money in the government, there's going to be a whole lot of places, people who ain't going to have jobs, because government waste is the whole reason why we got Doge in there, ain't it? From all the government waste. I'm sure that this could be discussed ad nauseum about how much government waste is going on. Okay. Fed quietly responds to Trump officials' attack over the renovations. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says Trump wants FEMA remade, not dismantled. Okay. Trump announced a 30% tariff. This did come out. I think we saw this in our group earlier today. 30% tariffs on EU and Mexico starting August the 1st. So there's that. There is that. I don't know. That's from the other day. That's not fresh. Okay, what's coming up this week as far as, before I go here, I want to go someplace else. Before I go there, I want to go here. It is starting to rain outside. Hopefully there won't be any issues with my internet while it starts to rain. What did we do? What did we do last week? Yes, because we were talking last week. I'm already into talking about next week, and I hadn't talked about last week yet. Yes. Last week, Apple, Amazon, COP, Google, Johnson & Johnson, all of these trades, almost all, 14 of the 16 were profitable last week. And the two that were not, Merck and Coca-Cola, were only partially breached. And even the breach that was minimal enough that if a person was in those trades and they stayed till expiration, they still would have been profitable. They just wouldn't have been 100% profitable. But this whole list last week went full profitability last week. Let's clap it up. Yes, clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it up. Yes. The list was listing last week. It was. All right. Our list every week. So now, if you're not trading with Peakbot, which some people aren't, which cool, or maybe you don't have Schwab, Tasty Trade, or Trader, maybe you're just using Robinhood, which is fine. Okay. Use this list. Pick everything on here if you want. Pick 1 or 2, 5 or 6 off this list if you want, and then enter them. Now, the thing is, my Peakbot enters these trades for me on Friday. So it enters every Friday. That means I get pretty good premiums because I'm entering 1 week for the next week expiration. When you wait till Monday, the premiums may not be as nice, but sometimes they can be even better because you get in a better position. Okay. But if I get in Friday, many times I can exit those trades on Monday or Tuesday because of the theta decay that has happened over the weekend. It ain't every time, But a lot of times, on several of these, Monday and Tuesday, I get some expirations. Okay. Peak by interest for me, hands free, automated on Friday, and then it exits on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, however those days go. Okay. But if you want to trade them manually, here you got. And when you check it on Monday, though, you want to check to make sure these strikes are still good. You want to confirm that you still agree with the strikes that I put on here, because I'm looking at the charts and those things based on the previous week and based on Friday's information. By the time the market opens on Monday, things may look a little different. So you want to definitely take a check to see. But our list, 88% win rate last week. Woo woo. Snap, 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 snap. Yes, it did well. It did well. Okay, I won't talk about that list yet. I wanted to hit something else, but I don't think I put it in there. Last week on my PeakBot, I had the ones that were entered for me. This is the trades list that I put in, but I ended up with, and if you got my email, if you're on my email list, you can see that I sent an email that talked about what my own personal profits were from PeakBot. It was $114, I think, for the week of my weekly trades. That was what happened last week. My JP Morgan trade, which is, no, it's not on here. I had a JP Morgan trade that I exited maybe on Wednesday. And Wednesday before the market closed, I exited that JP Morgan trade. It was a little bit in the money, and I didn't want to ride another night because the previous night, anyway, I closed it early, but it really on Thursday and Friday, it would have ended up profitable. Basically, the long and short of it is it would have ended profitable if I had just left it, but I didn't. I closed it on my own, and I ended up taking a loss on that. So, but I still ended up profitable, $114 hands free, except for the fact that I closed at JP Morgan, and we'll take it, and we'll take it. All right, this coming week though, I am trading. This is my list for this week. This is the list of the trades that PeakBot will trade for me this week. All right, PeakBot has already entered many of these stocks for me. AMD, Amazon, Catcoin, Google, Home Depot, Johnson Johnson, JP Morgan, PayPal, Uber, Exxon, and Procter Gamble. This is the list that I use week to week that I'm rinsing and repeating inside of PeakBot, just letting it do what it do. I want it to be pretty diversified. So this is my diversified list that runs week after week at this point. And if I feel, I can make a move, I can. But what's good with PeakBot is you decide what stock you want. PeakBot enters it, collects your monies, and when the trade is ready to close, PeakBot will also close it. I gave you the link there, and it's also running along the bottom. This is great for those who don't have time to look at all these charts and enter all these trades at whatever particular time. You don't have the time to manually do it, enter and exit these. You let PeakBot do it for you, because I know y'all working and doing other stuff like me. Because during the day, your girl is focused on making sure that our SPX trades is trading. I'm focused on making sure we making our SPX money. That's what I'm trying to do during the day, and teach the people, because I'm still teaching math at the university. We have a test this week, and I sure hope they're ready, because this week is factoring. This test is going to include factoring. Y'all say a prayer for them right now, because they need it. They need prayer, much power. No prayer, no power. Yeah, they need prayer. So if you're looking at the list, go ahead and screenshot this. If you're looking at the screen, screenshot it. It's also on my social media. It's also on email, all the places you can find this list. I don't think I put it on my YouTube. I have to make sure I do that. But it's on email. You should have access to my email. If you're on any of my lists, you should have gotten an email from me just before 5 o'clock. Everybody who is in my community at all, you should be able to find an email from me, because I send that email to everyone. If you got any questions, Doug, we can always talk more about. That. Okay, I'm going to take off E2T University, because I'm going to swing back to that later. Okay, what else is coming up this week? Okay, we've got several things coming up as far as meetings and key data points, which are going to cause some volatility this week. So everybody listen up for the particular days. Monday, it shows here there's nothing. Okay, there's probably something, but according to Forex Factory, there's nothing. Tuesday, we've got core CPI month over month, year over year, consumer pricing index. 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday morning. Red folders, be careful. Okay. FOMC folks are talking all through the day on Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got PPI, which is the producer price index. Now remember, the producers will feel the price crunch or the impact of things like tariffs and those things. They're going to feel those things before the consumer does. So when the PPI numbers start looking bad, CPI numbers could just be like yay, and the PPI numbers is like nay, and then yes, well, you need to be concerned. Okay, because when the producers feel it, then they pass that on to the consumers. They pass that on to us. Okay. That's all. That's Wednesday morning, another red folder. Capacity utilization rate is Tuesday. We've got some FOMC member people talking. Crude oil is 10:30. That's really an orange folder, maybe even a red. Beige book, which is tied to the red book, and some other book is at 2:00 on Wednesday. Thursday morning, we've got core retail sales and unemployment claims. Both of those things, again, red folders, important. Keep those in mind because when people ain't spending their money at the retail sites, that is an indication. It's another inflationary indicator. Okay. Unemployment claims, that also too. Jobs. Where the jobs at? Philly Fed is also Thursday morning before the market opens. Okay. All of that is Thursday. And then Friday seems a little quiet, but looks like the G20 meetings are on Tuesday, day 2. I didn't even see day. Oh, there's a day 1. It starts Thursday, G20 meetings, and Friday, day 2. Notice this: University of Michigan used to be red and now it's showing as orange. All right. Building permits and housing starts used to also be orange. Now they're yellow. They're still important. All right. Now let's move to another thing that's getting ready to kick off. We getting ready to kick off earnings, almost like kicking off football season. We getting ready to kick off earnings. Now, there are people who really do like to trade earnings and like to be a part in these earnings trades. And I'm cool on that. Now, I will give you a little pro tip. What's the pro tip? The pro tip is a lot of times it's best to ride the wave going into earnings. Okay, ride the wave going into earnings. Then before earnings, you pull the plug, you snatch the plug out the wall. Before earnings, take your money off the table. Now, where this becomes a difficulty for sellers, because we've run into this before. The drawback to this for sellers is when we're getting ready to go into earnings, the implied volatility stays so high that the premiums stay high. So the premiums won't draw down the way the way we want them to. All right. So we run into the issue of, if I get in at these premiums, then and try to get out just before earnings, the implied volatility is up and the premiums have not shrunk, and I may not be able to get out at the premiums will not have reduced the way I want them to. May not be able to buy back as low as I want because that implied volatility stays up. That's something you got to balance. But I would not encourage anyone to ride through earnings, because why? That's a binary event and it's significant for that company, and our credit spreads don't like them kind of events. So what we can do as sellers is you can, trade before earnings, exit before they make their earnings call, unless you real sure that they're going a certain direction. Otherwise, wait till after and trade that wave. You can ride that wave, because that's good. Because right after earnings, that's best if you jump in right after earnings, while there's still some money in there, And then you let that what's it called? Something crush. IV crush, you let IV crush happen after you've gotten some premiums. This is right after the earnings call, like first thing in the morning. You do let that IV crush, and you get in and let the IV crush pull all them premiums out. Your trade will be good in no time. Okay. Janae says, "Yep, Netflix, but I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard it from me in your living color voice." Yes. So if you real sure on which direction, then yes. Otherwise, hop in right after the earnings call and ride the wave on that. Okay. Ride it after. Let the earnings crush work for you as a seller, because that draw up of the premium, that's what we want. That's what we want. We want those premiums to draw down. We want to get that time decay. This is what we're after as sellers. Okay. You got to know what you're doing and we have to know what is our edge. And our edge. We don't need to stand in front of moving buses. No, or trains, planes, or automobiles. We do not need to. We can wait till after and say, "Oh, okay, y'all had earnings. Cool. Let me go ahead and get my credit spread going whichever way." And then as the price runs back the other way, because many times it'll pop, this ain't everything. It might pop, and then people go, "Oh, I'm taking profits." And as they take profits and it starts to drop back down, then what you do is ride your call credit spread back down, because many times people take their profits. Anybody who was trading earnings just to be in the earnings play, you can ride back down with a call credit spread and say, "Okay." And then as the premiums fall, as the price goes away from your particular strike, your trade will be ready to close because your premiums will have drawn down. All right. That was the tip. And that tip was free because YouTube is for the free. Okay, so here's our earnings for the week. We've got Monday, we got Fastenal, and you know what? I need to refresh this because I feel like I can't really see everything and it's kind of fuzzy. So let's see if I can refresh it. And maybe it won't be so fuzzy. Sorry let me see. Let me take this off the screen so that way y'all don't have to look at a white screen while we figure it out. But I want to make sure that it's as clear as possible. And right now, it's not very clear. I need it to be clear. Oh, there we go. It's clearing up. It's cleared up some. Taiwan Semiconductors has earnings this week. Did y'all know that? Did you know that? Okay, here we go. I think we got it where we can see now. Okay. Ooh, that's so much clearer. I'm not sure if y'all can see that. Monday morning is Fastenal. Monday after close, we've got Simulations Plus, First Bank, and Equity Bank Shares Incorporated. Tuesday morning, we got JP Morgan. JP Morgan, listen, this JP Morgan is not on our list. Let me make sure all this stuff ain't on my list, because some of this stuff don't need to be on the list. I think JP Morgan might be on my list. We don't trade stuff, and it's maybe a little late, ain't it? If we're already in it, we don't trade the stuff that is we don't trade stuff that has earnings. I just went through that whole spiel about not trading stuff that has earnings. Right? Is JP Morgan on my list? It is. JP Morgan on the list. I have to keep that in mind. When I let the list just run, rinse, and repeat every week, I remember we coming into earnings season. Now I got to pay a little close attention. Okay. It is a put credit spread though. So that's a positive. It is a put credit spread. So it was entered on Friday. JP Morgan has earnings on Tuesday. Yeah, your girl will be like, "It'll be great tomorrow. I'll be gone. I'll be gone." Yes, I'll be gone. Yep, I will be. Okay, so anyway, Tuesday, JP Morgan in the morning, they have earnings. Y'all like that serenade? Citibank also has earnings. BlackRock, Wells Fargo, State Street, BNY, Ericsson, Angiodynamics, Albertsons. They all got earnings Tuesday morning. Tuesday after close, JB Hunt, Hancock Whitney, Omnicom, WAFD Bank. Who are they? WAFD Bank, Fulton Financial, Kestra, Medical, Pinnacle Financial Partners. All that is Tuesday after market closes. Wednesday morning, ASML, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson. Another one on my list. I got to make a note. I need to make a note. JNJ. Morgan Stanley, Progressive, PNC, Prologis, Sandvik, M&T Bank, United, Kinder Morgan, Alcoa, SLG. This is all Wednesday after close. Synovus. Who is this? Home Bank Shares, First Industrial, AAR. Why do I start doing this and I start yawning? Triumph Financial, Rexford Industrial. And then Thursday morning, we've got Taiwan Semiconductors, PepsiCo, GE Aerospace, Centis, Abbott, Texas Central Bank, Capital Bank, U.S. Bancorp, Travelers, Webster Bank, and Fifth Third Bank. Thursday, Janae's baby is Netflix, Interactive Brokers, Martin, Bank of the Ozarks, WIT, which is WI Pro. This is Western Alliance Bank Corporation, First National, Simmons Bank, Metropolitan Commercial, Cohen Steers. Friday, we've got 3M Huntington. Is that the bank? Huntington, yeah. Regions, Truist, SLB, American Express, Charles Schwab, which we look at all the time, Alley, Auto Live, and Comerica. This is all the people who have, well, not all the people. These are the anticipated earnings that are put out by Earnings Whispers. Thank you so much, Earnings Whispers, for always putting together this nice graphic. That is not everyone. Of course, this is just the most anticipated. There's a whole long list of people who are having earnings. Okay. People who are having earnings. JP Morgan is Tuesday morning. Johnson & Johnson is Wednesday morning. Got to make sure those are closed before the earnings happens. Yes. I don't think I showed y'all the new list, which is why you didn't necessarily know that those are on the list. Those are went on the list. All right. AMD, which is probably going to move with Taiwan Semiconductors on Thursday. So, what's that, Thursday morning? Okay. AMD is here. Amazon, Cat, Coin, Google, Home Depot, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, PayPal, Uber, Exxon, and Procter & Gamble is the list for, it's my trading list. This is what Peakbot is trading for me this week. This is my list. A whole bunch of put credit spreads this week. Have mercy. Only one call credit spread, which is Procter & Gamble. Notice nothing is on both lists. We didn't have any neutrals this week. No neutrals. So this is where we are with that. Last week we had Apple as a neutral, and it performed on both sides. It closed in the middle. Apple closed in the middle. If you see here, Apple was on both lists. It closed in the middle of, I think it closed at like 217 or something like that. COP was on both lists, and it also closed in the middle. Something else was on both lists. Coca-Cola, but this one breached a little bit on the bottom. Merck was on both lists. It breached a little bit on the top. And Target was on both lists, and it did fine on both lists. Several neutrals were last week, but this week we didn't have any neutrals. No neutrals. Okay. Let's go look at some charts. I think that's where we are next. We're ready to look at some charts. See what we got for this coming week. We already looked at SPX. We're still at all-time high. We are making a higher high. If you want a little bit of a trend, if you're looking a little bit at a trend, we did put in a little higher high. This is one place, and this the high of the next one. So there's a little bit of an upward trend even with that, with there. And then you've got higher lows. So there's a bit of a trend forming. It might be dancing in the middle. We'll see what happens there. That's SPX. SPX on the daily. Okay, let's look at SPY. SPY, which will look very similar. No shock there. It's going to look very similar, even though similar does not have a B. It's going to look very similar. All right. This was Monday. Down day Monday, kind of flat on Tuesday. Kind of doji-ish. Turned around and moved on up. Let me put my little note here, because the last time I be putting stuff on here and then I forget. Then I forget what I put it on here for, and then I go back to my chart like, what was the thing I wrote this on here for? I wrote this on here as a daily support. Not that I need y'all to follow along as I do some charting, but I just have to remember for myself that this is what that's supposed to be. So when I come back to my chart later, I'm like, oh, that's what that was. Okay. Because otherwise you have a whole bunch of lines on your chart and won't know what they are. But we've been, SPY has been in a bit of a consolidation for the last 6 trading days. Inside. Okay. So keep that in mind as you're trading until it does a breakout, like it broke out here. This was an inside day. For those who do watch the strat, let me turn on my numbers. Big numbers. For those who do watch the strat, last Tuesday was an inside day. And then on Wednesday, it actually broke out to the upside. This was a 2 up. This is why it's green. This was a 2 up. And then Thursday ended up being another 2 up. And then it fell back down. This is still a green day, but it was a 2 down. So it closed below. I mean, it went down here below, but then turned green and went up. So this is what's called a failed 2. For those who know what that is, this is what's called a failed 2 down. It went down, but then closed green. Okay, it went below the low of the previous candle, but then it closed green. Okay, that's what that is. It's called a failed 2 down. All righty. Okay, this is triple Q we're looking at now. Triple Q looks similar. 6 days of trading in the consolidation zone. Consolidation. Yeah. Consolidation. Yeah. Daily support. It is. This can move just a little bit and become daily resistance. Okay. All righty. There's some more stuff in the middle of here. This ain't a charting call, so I'm not doing that. I do that good charting stuff inside the membership. That's where I do all that inside of my membership. We do our chart looking and stuff. So my charting on here is very broad stroke charting, as they call it. Very broad strokes charting when I'm on this call, because I give my good work and good stuff to the membership. They get the best of me. Okay. I don't have but so much to give. And I'm giving it to the people who find value in it. All right. Nope. Can we get a writing? Yes, we can. Daily support. Yes, we can. All righty. So again, this is IWM. IWM done a little bit more moving than the other 2 indices, but it's still kind of doing the same thing. A similar thing, which is trading in a range. Daily resistance is 224. Daily support is 219. That's a $5 range that it's been in for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. It's been in that range for 7 days. It closed in that range on the 2nd of July, and it has stayed in that $5 range since then. It has to break out. Okay. Again, last Wednesday was a 1 day, was basically an inside day. Failed 2 was on Monday, and then it moved on up from there. Okay. That's what IWM. We'll see what happens with this failed 2 on tomorrow. All righty. Let's see. Where are we now? I just was mentioning the membership. I will swing back to that. But before I get there, I want to talk a little bit about E2T University, which is coming up starting next month. It starts in the middle of the month. E2T University. Now, I know we have people who have followed me, who see what we do, who see our profits and stuff, and they're like, I want to do that, but I don't know how. Okay, this E2T University is where you find out how. We start from the beginning, take yourself all the way up to mastery. We learn what our stocks, what our options, how to chart, how to do our strategies, how do we make money, how do we do risk management, how do we manage our portfolio, all the things that you see, how do we use indicators, yada, yada, yada. We put all that in the 12-week sessions. of E2T University. All right. You can go to the link that's at the bottom. Let me see if I can type it in too. I think my links are clickable. Let me see. HTTPS. I want to see that it's clickable. So that way, if you'd like to go ahead and get on the wait list, you can. com/E2T wait list. Okay. That way, when we get ready to start signing up for it, because I will not have room for the masses. Okay. Even though we're on Zoom, people still more. This is going to be more of a classroom setting, an educational setting. And I want to make sure I can accommodate everyone that is interested. But I also want to be sure that I can give everybody what they will need in this academic environment. All righty. So check out E2T University coming real soon. It's going to be starting in the middle of August. All righty. Information forthcoming. Get on the wait list though, so you won't miss any of the information. I believe I've got the. Oh man, I put a dot in front of there. That shouldn't have had a dot inside of it. HTTPS. There's no period in front of that www. Should not be that. Okay, let me try again. HTTPS. I think you can also see it. I know you can also see it on my social media. And I don't remember if I put it in the email or not. I know I planned on it. Make sure I didn't make some mistake. I planned on putting it in the email, but I'm not sure if I did or not. Okay. There's that E2T University. Okay. The membership I've mentioned a few times today, where we trade SPX and XSP on a daily basis. I also mentioned this in my email that you got today. It's still open for those who already are able to trade credit spreads or have a good idea about selling. This is where you're welcome to come join us. If you're not into credit spreads yet, but you're interested, then you just gotta have to be ready to ride through the learning curve. All right. I won't turn anybody away, but it'll be a little bit more of a learning curve for you. Right. But I believe everybody who's in the membership, we all had to go through the curve, including me. I had to ride through the learning curve too. So is it clickable now? Thank you, Doug. So I had to ride through the learning curve as well. So everybody who's with me had to ride through this curve. So if you'd like to come on and join the membership, you can do that. We're trading SPX every day. Doing that. Last week I made almost $3,500 with just my SPX trades. Of course, I don't count out whatever other stuff, which I don't do a whole lot of other stuff because I don't have time to do a lot of stuff. My focus at this point is really on making sure that the membership is profitable and that I'm profitable with our membership. That's why I focused on SPX. The Lord told me at the beginning of the year, and do y'all know this? I might have to talk about this in tonight. Now I'm gonna talk about it now. I'm gonna talk about it when I get to the Zoom because it's July. And y'all remember what the Lord told me at the beginning of this school year? The beginning of this calendar year, not school year. My people remember. My people remember. We're going to talk about that at 6 o'clock. I ain't even going to talk about it now. I'm talking about it at 6 o'clock. Yes. Ooh, the Lord. See how he just reminded me? He just reminded me and said, I'm faithful to my word, girlfriend. That's what he just said to me just now. I felt that quickening in my spirit. And see what he said, I'm faithful to my word. Try me. Try me. Try me. That's what God said. Try me. Don't try. I was going to say try Jesus. Don't try me. But that's what he said. Try Jesus. So that's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's not accurate in this situation. Ooh, I have to entertain myself. Y'all know this. When I first started doing Zoom, I would be on here like, I want people to talk back to me. Ask Jamie. I would be like, Jamie, I want people to. It feels so funny. Nobody's talking back. Jamie was like, you'll get used to it, and I'll be doggone. I got used to it. Now I'm like, I will entertain myself on this here call. I don't even listen. I don't know how many people be listening. If it's one of y'all or 1,000, I'm gonna act the same person because I'm entertaining myself. Entertaining myself. All right. So I believe I've covered everything I was gonna cover today. I hit our calendar. I hit. Oh, I was not doing that. I covered our earnings. I did all the things. Yes, I covered everything I was gonna cover. But yeah, so we're gonna be on the call in about no, we're probably gonna go on in 5 or 10 minutes. We'll go straight from here into our charting call for those who are in my membership. Let's go ahead and go straight to that. And so I got something I got to share. I got some stuff to share now. Oh my. Okay, so listen, I'll be on here tomorrow morning. And I'm here 8:20. 8:20. Janae told me I was coming too early, so I'm coming at 8:20. Doug said I was just being polite. It's okay. I'll be here at 8:20 in the morning, and we'll talk about our morning. I wasn't here Friday. I decided partway through, I was almost to the computer, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my coffee, and I'm gonna be with my community at 9. We ended up getting on the phone on the horn early because Thinkorswim was acting stupid on Friday. And that's what you get now when you with a community of people. You get somebody who's gonna care about whether or not you know how to close your trade. So we jumped on Zoom with my people, and I was able to work and help them to make sure everybody could get their trade. What buttons do we push? Yada yada. Some of these discords, them dudes was in there closing their trades and leaving y'all to figure it out. Okay. Some of them discords was like they was getting their stuff together and you were on your own. On my own. Yeah, you was on your own. Me and my folks was on Zoom, so we was getting it figured together. Okay. This is what kind of work we doing over here in the option seller zone. And if your leader is not making sure that you are still covered when things are a little awry, you might want to consider who you're following. Okay. Yeah, the annual membership is an excellent value. I would concur. All right, y'all. I will see you all tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I want y'all to stay green. I want you to get this money. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.